Chief Justice Warren Burger once wrote, "The obligation of our profession is to serve as healers of human conflict." Welcome to Lawyers as Healers, a podcast exploring an evolution happening inside the American legal profession. I am your host, Dave Albrechta. I am a coach, a mediator, and a recovering litigator. In this podcast, I'll explore how and why an increasing number of lawyers are moving beyond adversarial thinking to return to the obligation of our profession, which is to serve as healers of human conflict. I want to begin by being very clear about something. I don't believe that the legal system is all bad, just as I don't believe that it's all good. I think it's significantly more nuanced than that. And I also don't think that the legal profession or our legal institutions are collapsing. I do think that our legal system is changing. It's in a period of transformation and growth, and this is happening loudly in some areas, and the area that I'm exploring, it's happening very quietly. It's under the surface. It's under the radar. A lot of people don't know that this change is going on, but it is, and it's happening from the inside, and it's happening from lawyers who are looking for new, different ways to be lawyers, just as I experienced. I really thought when I first started going through this that my experience was isolated. When I first had that message of healing and providing a healing space, I thought to be honest, I thought I was going a little crazy. It was hard to envision or imagine how that was possible. And I really thought it was a unique experience. And as I've already discussed, I quickly discovered that wasn't true, and that there are multiple fairly robust movements happening around this type of work, a lot of which I've talked about. Facilitative, transformative mediation, the integrative law movement, collaborative practices, restorative justice, trauma-informed lawyering, coaching being blended with lawyering, spiritual practices and energy work being blended with lawyering. And as I've found and learned more and more about these movements that were already very much underway and have been for decades, uh, I felt this enormous sense of relief. This wasn't just me. And there were hundreds, if not thousands, of other lawyers out there who had had very similar experiences, and alternatives already exist. And people have been building these alternatives for years. And I believe that the public and non-lawyers, people that use and need the legal system, are beginning to hear and learn about these things, and that it's no longer completely taboo for a lawyer to talk about their meditation practice, or for a lawyer to talk about any of these alternatives without being ostracized by the profession and the industry. I keep seeing a couple different patterns. One is within the legal community, and that is lawyers that are burned out. And I think that burnout can happen in a lot of different ways. It's lawyers who are just questioning the system, lawyers who are searching for a deeper purpose or meaning for their own lives, lawyers who just want to contribute in a different way. I think a lot of this has to do with lawyers searching for a way to get back to those ideas that they had when they were first going into law school, and how they were going to contribute to their society and community and help people. So I'm seeing that pattern. I'm also seeing, from my practice as a plaintiff's lawyer, the client side and the pattern of people who You just can sense that they walk away from the legal system confused and feeling a sense that it wasn't what they were looking for, and justice wasn't served. So those two patterns really lead us to this conversation about how lawyers can show up differently. And there's a lot of things that contribute to this that I'm excited to continue to unpack. Some of the things that came to mind as I was getting ready for this episode is lawyers believing that they have to suppress their emotions, that our job is to take on other people's emotional baggage, carry it for them, but at the same time be able to leave it at the office, so to speak, and not take it home. All of those things are, I think, based on fallacies about what we're actually doing and how we do it. I don't think lawyers can leave the emotions at the door and be these law robots that we expect ourselves to be. I don't think that's possible. I also know that many lawyers, myself included, suffer from some form of perfectionism, and perfectionism drives all kinds of things that are really unhelpful when it comes to managing conflict. Then there's all of this ties into adversarial identity and the system rewarding us for showing up as these aggressive, zealous advocates. Our sole purpose is to win the case and nothing else. And all of these then lead to this disconnection from, I think, from our own humanity, from our clients' humanity. All of this gets so formalized that we lose sight of the people and their real issues that are at the core of these cases. And to me, I think there's this excuse that we all use as lawyers. I know I did, which is our ethical rules really preach and tell us we have to stay in our lane. At the same time, these things don't exist in a vacuum. And it's impossible, or it should be impossible, for a lawyer to represent someone in a high conflict divorce and not at least think about their client's mental health and how this process is impacting them. It doesn't mean you have to be a psychotherapist. It doesn't mean you have to be a psychologist. But certainly you can have some basic understanding and awareness of these ideas and principles so that you can get your client help when they need it. We all, as lawyers, watch clients go through this, and many of us just simply don't know what to do. I also just want to note that I know that the system, while I see hope and I see change coming and I see this quiet revolution and evolution building, the system is and will reject and resist these changes. It will. I think there's just built-in incentives to not do some of this work. There's tradition, which is very much a part of our legal system. Same with prestige, which is a concept that a lot of lawyers, I think, are grappling with in one way or another. Also, identity. I'll speak for myself. My identity as a lawyer is very much enmeshed with my identity as a human and a person. And I've been working to untangle that, but it's still there. And it's going to take years to fully do that, I think. And I think a lot of us, we work so hard to become lawyers and we get that degree and we pass the bar and it's such a badge of honor and it's prestigious and it all these things that feed our ego about who we are, and they get very entangled. And so there's a lot of resistance to challenging what we do. And then at the heart of all of this is fear. I have been, parts of me still are, really scared about taking this leap into a different way of being a lawyer and how I show up. It's scary. And it's scary, I think, for some people just to hear the phrase lawyers as healers. And there's a lot of fear built into this. I know as I was going through these trainings, it was amazing to me how much fear came up early on in this process around our professional rules of conduct. As I explored those things over a couple of years, I really found that it was just it was my brain trying to keep me safe. It was my brain trying to keep me in a comfortable space that I already knew and understood. Just be a traditional lawyer. Don't think outside the box. That's dangerous out there. Don't do that. A lot of the fear is really not justified and also not true. Um, when I really sat down and explored it and had support from other people in exploring it. So I know firsthand. I went through a couple of years of just really seeing how much our profession instills fear in us about all the things we can do wrong and get disbarred and all the worries that come with that. So I think most lawyers just don't question the system because the system really becomes a part of who they are and their identity. Said another way, when your identity is tied into a system like this, just simply questioning the system is incredibly threatening because it's threatening your identity and who you are. And I just want to recognize that and acknowledge it. And if there's any kind of traditional lawyers who are have listened to this far and are having all the doubts and worries and challenges with these ideas, A, thanks for making it this far. And B, just know that I think it's completely natural to respond that way. And it's natural to feel this personal attack, almost to take it personally when we're talking about questioning the system. Again, I know I've experienced all of that in this process. So I want to end this introductory set of episodes with talking about what gives me a great deal of hope. And one of the things, before I get too far into that, I want to say is that I mentioned in I think in the last episode this pattern I noticed of clients getting stuck in the system where they're relitigating the past and they get stuck in this loop where they have to go back and relive the traumatic event over and over and over and over again for years, and that creates these deep neural pathways they're hard to move on from and turn off. And I just want to acknowledge for you and for myself that I've spent a lot of time over the last couple of years telling my story. And I know my story is not unique. I know a lot of lawyers have experienced this exact thing. And I'm doing this because I want to focus on looking forward. I wanted to do these initial episodes to get that story out, to say it once clearly and succinctly, so that as I move forward, I can reference these and send people back to them if they want to hear it. But I really want to try to not continue returning to the story piece and really focus on what's next. How can we do better? What does this look like? How can lawyers show up differently? How are we already doing it? And I now want to just shift into what gives me a lot of hope. And what gives me hope is the people I've met in these trainings, a whole community of lawyers and non-lawyers who care about conflict resolution in a whole new way. And that gives me an immense amount of hope. As does my other trainings. It gives me a lot of hope that the Colorado Bar Association is doing trainings in facilitative mediation. It gives me hope when I go on LinkedIn and see all the lawyers out there who are promoting collaborative practices and promoting trauma-informed work and just simply questioning how we're doing these things. And there's this whole other class of people who are helping support lawyers who are still doing the really hard work. Because I want to be really clear, litigation, trial work, our legal system is important, and it should not and ought not go away. It is a vital part of our democracy. It's a vital part of our society. But what gives me hope there is that there's this whole ecosystem that's growing around therapy for lawyers and coaching for lawyers and helping lawyers really clearly define values and purpose so that they can do this really, really difficult, complex work that's so important, and do it from a grounded place so that they can perform at their very best. And I think that's so important. I have a lot of hope about younger lawyers getting into this profession for the right reasons and being able to hold on to that and not let law school strip away their ideas and their ideals, their purpose and meaning and why they're doing this. I think I've already begun hearing about law schools adopting classes in trauma-informed work and beginning to realize that there needs to be some training in these spaces. So I don't think that the future of law means abandoning advocacy or abandoning our role as advocates. I think that what I see the future of the legal profession and legal system is that the future of law is about expanding what we believe lawyers are capable of, expanding our trust and confidence in ourselves as being true problem solvers who are capable of looking outside the box and thinking about other tools and other trainings and other mechanisms to truly help our clients in the way that they need help, instead of having this myopic, almost tunnel vision about our role and that it's limited entirely to legal analysis and advocacy, both of which are important. But like I said, I really, what gives me hope is that we can expand and grow our vision of what we're capable of doing as professionals in order to help our clients. And to me, that is what it means to be a healer of human conflict. It's about employing knowledge, tools, and approaches that help our clients at a deeper level. It's about bringing humanity back into the picture and letting AI be the robot so that we can be the humans, so that we can help people get through the difficult journey that they're on, recognizing that our clients are heroes in their own right, on their own hero's journey, that they have their own answers, that we don't need to give them answers, that they need to be treated with dignity and respect on both sides. And just getting back to truly focusing on helping people. When I first started looking into all these alternatives, as I've already said, I was amazed at how much is out there and that I wasn't alone. And the real point of this show and the whole reason I wanted to start a podcast is to talk to all these people, because there's so many people that are doing these really cool, interesting new things within the legal sphere. And I am just so excited to connect with those people and to help them share their stories and explain their perceptions and perspectives on this evolution and these changes. And I just, I'm, that's the reason I did this. There's a lot of people out there who have been doing this for much longer than I have, who had their breakthroughs and their transitions decades ago and have been leading this revolution. And those are the people I really am excited to hear from. I'm excited to share with you as the audience. I don't think there's one answer to where the legal profession goes from here. But I know for sure that there are more and more lawyers beginning to realize that we can't keep approaching human conflict this same way. We can do better. There's got to be another way. And I think there's got to be multiple other ways. And that the future of law is about becoming more human in the face of everything that's going on. And I think maybe that's what this is all about. It's just about becoming more human and tapping into our humanity and our clients' humanity and being conscious and aware of all of the contexts around each person that we're helping. So take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, be well, and we'll talk to you soon.